t-shirt. All right, Angie Nixon is a Democratic state representative, union organizer, mother, and proven fighter, born and raised in Jacksonville. In the State House, Angie has been a leading champion for working and middle-class Floridians, from expanding child care for thousands of families to stopping major grocery chains from gouging their prices to leading resistance on DeSantis' unfair voting maps. Angie's path-breaking leadership includes serving as the executive director of Florida for All, a statewide coalition that has registered tens of thousands of new voters while raising resources for campaigns and issue-based organizing across the state. With our state's rich resources, we all deserve to thrive. Angie is fighting for our children, for lower cost and higher wages, for a government that stands up to corrupt billionaires and corporate greed, while opening the door to the people for the heart and soul of our country. Please give a warm welcome to Northeast Florida's own candidate for U.S. Senate, Angie Nixon! I'm gonna move this down. You sure? Okay.
Hey, everyone. So it is so good to be somewhat home. I've been traveling all across the state of Florida. As was stated, I am State Rep Angie Nixon. I've had the honor and privilege to serve you all in the State House. I consider y'all my constituents as well, because I know y'all don't have someone that returns y'all's phone calls, right? And so I am honored. I've been honored and privileged to serve you all for the past 6 years. Born and raised in Jacksonville, Florida, graduate of public schools, went to Stanton College Preparatory High School, went over to the University of Florida as well. And I've just been fighting for my community for so long. And the reason that I decided to get involved is actually because I wind up losing my favorite cousin, Breon, to the school-to-prison pipeline. And so I was bused across town at a very young age for elementary school, having to walk and pass drug dealers and all kinds of things, even to catch a bus, but had to wake up at 5-something to catch a 6-something o'clock bus in the morning to get to school at 7-something. It's because my mom told me she didn't want to make the same mistake she made with my brother. I didn't understand what she meant at the time, but basically it was because my neighborhood schools didn't have the resources that more affluent sides of town had. And so I had a favorite cousin, and my favorite cousin, Breon, he wound up going to neighborhood schools. And he got into a little trouble when he was in high school and got sent to an alternative school where I tell people he learned alternative things. And what's interesting, though, about my cousin Breon is that he got in trouble for doing some of the same things that they did at my high school. But because I went to Stanton College Prep, and it was the number 1 school in the nation at the time, they only got a slap on the wrist. My cousin got in trouble and got a record and started going in and out of jail, while I wound up graduating from the University of Florida and coming back. After I graduated, my cousin got into a disagreement with the young man because he won some money off of him in a bet, and the guy got upset and wanted the money back. My cousin said no, and so he shot and killed my cousin. And so as I looked out in the audience at my cousin's funeral, and I was speaking over him and reading a poem and talking, I looked at the audience and looked at my daughter, who was not 1 at the time, and I looked at my cousin's son, who was 1, And I told myself that I didn't want my cousin, my daughter's favorite cousin, to pass away or be killed the same way that my cousin was. I didn't want her to have to bury her favorite cousin. And so I feel that no matter what side of town you live on, every child should have the opportunity to have a quality education. And so that's why I started getting involved, particularly in public education advocacy. Over the years, I've had the opportunity to serve as a union member and a union organizer with SEIU and Florida Public Services Union. I'm also a union baby. My mom is a member of CWA 3106, and she was a telephone operator. So I know the importance of working for hard-working people and making sure that people have wages, right? And not only that, but people know me as the biggest pain, and Ron DeSantis. I'm not gonna cuss because I feel like I am in a spiritual center, but but yeah. So I've had the honor and privilege, to really fight over these past few years, and
we thank you for flipping the table.
For sure, kind of like Jesus, right? And so what's really interesting, though, is that I didn't make the decision to run for United States Senate lightly. Folks are like, what makes you think you can jump from state rep to U.S. Senate? Let me be clear. Marco Rubio was a state rep too, and then he became a U.S. Senate. So this is not out of the norm, right? But I decided to run for U.S. Senate because I actually traveled across the state for a matter of months and spoke with thousands of Floridians all across the state. And what I realized is that Floridians can't keep waiting for things to get better someday. I've literally spoken with seniors. I've saw seniors who are working at the age of 70, 80, 90 years old, literally, like I have. I'm not gonna lie, I'm in a house of faith, I ain't lying. So I saw these seniors and they're working, not because they want to, but because they have to. I've talked to people like Ms. D, who just came out of surgery because her breast cancer returned, and she now may have to refinance her home. Not for a first time either, not for a second time, but possibly for a third time. I've talked with students in Gainesville, like the young man whose family migrated here years ago, and he became a naturalized citizen at the age of 12, but he's afraid to go to his girlfriend's apartment, not out of fear of her dad, but out of fear of ICE detaining him or the Florida Highway Patrol detaining him and keeping him without due process. Floridians cannot keep waiting for things to get better someday. Right now, I feel, though, we have the opportunity to change that. We have the opportunity to build a new vision for our country, one where every family has stability and every worker has dignity and every young person has the opportunity to reach the true American dream. Do you all know that the average age right now for a young person or for anyone to get a home, their first home, is 42? It's 42. Do you know how much it costs to send your child to early childhood education programs? I have a 5-year-old and I'm spending $1,000 a month. A 5-year-old. I have a friend in Boston, and when she had her newborn, she was paying $4,500 a month. It's absurd. I'm speaking to seniors who are rationing their medication because Medicare doesn't cover all of their prescription drugs. And then what we're hearing is that their Social Security is under attack And they try to make it seem, they being the people in power right now, they try to make it seem like they don't have the money to ensure that we're good. Like they don't have the money to make sure that our seniors have what they need to rest, to get their just due rest. But meanwhile, they're spending nearly $2 billion a day in a war that we didn't even ask for. And you got to ask yourself, for what? For what? I know why, exactly. The young woman back here did this. It's money, but it ain't money for us. It's money for them. Did you know that Donald Trump's net worth has gone up $1 billion since he's been in office recently? And his kids have gone up as well. Donald Trump Jr.'s went up, I think, 50 million the last time I checked earlier in the year. So I'm sure it's gone up even more. And then his son-in-law is brokering deals over in the Middle East. It doesn't have to be this way. We cannot continue to send the same type of people to Washington, D.C. and the same type of people. That goes for the same type of Republicans and some of the same type of Democrats. I'm just being honest. Because if you've seen over the past few months, there have been plenty of Democrats who've been voting the wrong way. There have been plenty of Democrats in the U.S. Senate who have failed to have a backbone for the American people, but that's because they're looking out for their donors, the people that pad their campaign coffers. I have 5 kids. Yes, wow. I have 5 kids. It is a blend, but it is still 5 kids nonetheless, and my husband added a dog. Why did he add a dog? A pit bull at that. But my 5 kids and my 6th Luna and my 7th, including my husband, but my 5 kids deserve so much more. They deserve so much more. You all deserve so much more. We need to leave this country a better place. Can you imagine if we started sending hardworking, everyday people to Washington, D.C., could you imagine what that would look like? Think about it. If we started sending hardworking, everyday people to Washington, D.C., we wouldn't have to worry about our young people being slaughtered while they were simply trying to get an education, because people would have the mental resources that they need, mental health resources that they need. Or the people won't be emboldened by racist, misogynistic, xenophobic elected officials that are creating chaos and division in our country. Can you imagine if we sent hardworking, everyday people to Washington, D.C., we would have seniors who have worked their entire lives not have to ask, do you want fries with that? They could actually be watching our kids, especially my 5-year-old. Because she is off the chain and she is a COVID baby. Y'all know them COVID babies off the chain. But they can kick up their feet, right? They can watch, I don't know, those soap operas. I remember my grandma used to watch soap operas, so I guess that's what they still do. But now I've seen grannies on the tickety-tock, so they might want to be doing some TikTok moves, right? But the thing is, they could be doing whatever they want and not having to be asking, do you want fries with that? Do you want a shake with that? If we had hardworking, everyday people in Washington, D.C., we could end things like Citizens United. Yeah. If we had hardworking people, everyday people in DC who weren't beholden to corporations, we wouldn't have to worry about over $500 million of our taxpayer dollars being okay to throw up a raggedy detention center down in Alligator Alley. We wouldn't have to worry about American citizens being slaughtered and shot in the head on the streets. We could experience joy and rest. We are exhausted. I'm exhausted. Honestly, these people talk trash about us wanting to experience rest. They say, oh, well, those seniors, they should have just, if they got to work at Walmart, they should have picked a better job and made sure they saved their retirement. Like, these are the things that elected officials in DC right now are saying, particularly the ones that are in the administration. It does not have to be this way. And then they're dividing us. They're dividing us because it's profitable. It's profitable for them to keep us arguing with one another because it keeps our eyes off the fact that they are lowering the age for kids to be able to work. They are attacking Social Security. It keeps our eyes off of the fact that they want to end Medicare. They cut the ACA subsidies. Like, that is why they are keeping us divided. It is not a Democrat or Republican thing. It is the people who are in power are beholden to the top 1.25% of folks like the Jeff Bezos and the Elon Musk of the world. That's the problem. Because let's be real, a lot of our neighbors that are flying those Trump flags, they've been lied to. They hurting too. And they trying to put up a front, but they got to put gas in their car too. They see their grocery prices are rising as well. And the thing is, if we are supposed to be a big tent, right now is our opportunity to get them to vote the right way. But they won't vote the right way if we've demonized them and we've talked trash about them. Now, don't get me wrong. You can talk about Donald Trump and Pam Bondi and Ashley Moody all day long. But don't talk about your neighbors because they have been lied to as well. They are feeling it as well. We need to start breaking bread with our neighbors again. We need to start having our driveway car porch parties with our neighbors again. Don't even make it seem like it's going to be something political right now. But guess what? It's going to lead to a political conversation because you're going to ask, well, how was your mother? And they gonna say, oh, well, mom is stressed out because XYZ, and it is probably gonna have to do with that orange guy that is in the White House right now. Honestly. Like, we can actually change our country for the better, y'all. Whether or not you want to believe it, we are in a civil rights moment. I spoke to a woman by the name of Miss Jean, and she's 80 years old from Apalachicola. Miss Jean is a woman who became the personal messenger for J. Edgar Hoover 3 days before Dr. Martin Luther King was shot. And I asked her, she actually hand-delivered the message when Dr. King got shot. I asked her, I said, Miss Jean, how do you feel right now? She said, it feels like deja vu. Miss Jean, an 80-plus-year-old woman who had to drink out of Black-only water fountains, saw dogs that were potentially going to get sicked on her, threatened with water hoses simply because she wanted to eat at the same lunch counters as kids her age, but weren't her same color. Said it feels like deja vu. This is a civil rights moment, but what's important to remember about civil rights back in the day, in the fight for civil rights and the fight for women's rights, it wasn't accomplished overnight. So we are going to have to know that, like, nothing is gonna change overnight. We're gonna have to dig in. We're gonna have to get to work. We're gonna have to have conversations. We're gonna have to meet people where they are. Because there's a lot of empty seats. But not even just that. There's a lot of people who are just struggling to make it. And they're not even thinking about an election. They don't even understand how everything they do has to, whatever they have or don't have, has to do with who's in office. Whether or not they have clean water to drink, i.e. Flint, Michigan, i.e. Jackson, Mississippi, i.e. Apalachicola, Florida, they had some dirty, toxic water over there a few months ago. Whether or not public schools are gonna get closed. Whether or not we're gonna have infrastructure, because they're talking about cutting property taxes. Everything we do and deal with on a daily basis and how it is determined by who's in office. So you all gotta figure out right now, in this civil rights moment, how are you gonna show up? What are your grandkids and your great-grandkids and your great-great-grandkids what are they gonna say about how you showed up in this moment? Are they gonna say, you put your head down and you just let whatever happened to you? Are they gonna say that you just said, you know what? I'm gonna just go with the status quo as usual. I'm gonna go ahead and vote for the shiny, nice object that DC telling us we need to vote for? Are they gonna say that you went for what you deserve? You voted for what you deserved, which was access to quality, affordable, if not free, health care. You voted for someone who was going to fight to stop private equity firms from buying up all of the single-family homes and driving up the rent. Are they gonna say that you voted for someone who stood with labor and union members and workers and fought to pass the PRO Act? Are they gonna say that you stood with someone who fought for public education? Are they gonna say you stood with someone who decided to stop sending money overseas to harm people? You have a choice that you have to make in August during the primary, and you definitely have a choice that you have to make in November. But even before that, you have some actions you have to take. You gotta make phone calls. You gotta knock doors. You gotta spread the word about what it is we deserve. What it is you really dreamt of and you stopped dreaming because the powers that be, the rich folks, put certain people in power that squashed your dreams. We're living in someone's dream right now. And it's a nightmare for many of us, and it doesn't have to be that way. It does not have to be that way. We deserve so much more. A famous freedom fighter stated that it is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love and protect one another. We have nothing to lose but our chains. Our chains are anti-Semitism. Our chains are Islamophobia. Our chains are Citizens United. Our chains are attacks on our immigrant brothers and sisters. Our chains are attacks on Social Security and our health care. It is our duty to fight for our freedom. It is our duty to win. We must love and protect one another. We have nothing to lose. We have absolutely nothing to lose. We have nothing to lose but our chains. I am State Representative Angie Nixon. I am humbly asking for your support in this August 18th primary for United States Senate. And I think there are questions that folks may have.
If anyone has questions, if you filled out the 3x5 cards, Teresa Dellinger will be, or yeah. All right. I just ask that if you have a question, if you step up on the stage, because otherwise the Zoom won't pick it up.
Okay. Yeah, we can give you the mic.
I do have two.
Okay. Someone wrote, how do we win over people who believe, this I ain't read cursive in a while. How do we win over people? And yes, the kids need to learn cursive again in 3rd grade like I did. So that's what I stand for as well. How do we win over people who believe in a different reality? Wait, what is that? What did y'all write? Was that right?
We win over people who understand a different reality, who are fed a different reality. You say talk to them, but they have a different set of facts that they believe.
Right. And so what you do is you build relationships with them. You have conversations with them. The way in which you're able to change people's hearts and minds are like talking to folks. But we don't talk to people anymore. And also like just having, like building a relationship outside of just talking to them about politics.
Has that worked for you?
Yes, it has. It has.
It doesn't even work with my brother.
And let me be clear. Let me be clear. Some people you just gotta let go. But there is a lot more of us than there are of them. There's a lot more people who are quiet and disappointed and embarrassed by what's happening right now and who they voted for. But that goes back to why I said we can't talk trash about our neighbors and call them stupid and ignorant and go off on them on social media. I was in a meeting with a young man who is a Republican, and he's like, I'm not a Trump voter. Like, he's a young man. He's like, but I would like to become a Democrat, but they've attacked Republicans so much. I don't feel comfortable being a member of their party. And so that's why I'm saying, like, attack Trump all day, every day. But we need to start building bridges and tearing down those walls with our neighbors. We don't even know our neighbors anymore oftentimes, especially when we see they done threw up a flag that got Trump on it. Like, let's be real. Not the American flag. We love the American flag, right? But when you start having conversations with people just about like making dishes or, again, like, I have never seen anyone dance mad. Have y'all? My old boyfriend told me that he was like, when we get mad, like he would make us dance. And like, we have to salsa night on the block, right? Like building those bridges and going and talking to them, right? And you're going to eventually get to politics, and then you can really start sharing like true facts and information. Their algorithm is jacked up and it's full of lies. But if we don't say anything, like oftentimes it goes unchecked. And again, like a lot of them, they don't know. They don't know. All they see is the same thing over and over again. But I tend to believe people who come talk to me and have a relationship with me over what I see on my feed all the time. I'm going to believe you. I'm going to begin to trust you. But you have to develop those relationships. And they've decided, like, this division, again, that they've created, it's profitable, and they did it with intention. As a member of the U.S. Senate, would you commit to legislation that regulates agricultural practices to reduce green gas emissions and promote sustainable farming? Such legislation would have positive environmental effects locally and nationally. Absolutely. And I think if you honestly look at my previous record, we've had some really bad agricultural bills that came up this past legislative session, and I voted down on them. And so I have a track record of voting down even when it could potentially cost me them allowing me to get bills across the aisle or them allowing me to bring money home. At the end of the day, I refuse to vote in support of something that is harming my community. Really quick story. My first year as a lawmaker in Tallahassee, I met with the House leadership, one of the House leader, the floor leader, honestly. And I asked him, how can I be successful up here? And he told me, well, you either need to be an advocate or you gonna bring money home. And I said, wait, what? Like, I mean, that's the same thing, right? I should be an advocate to bring money home. He said, oh, you think you're smarter than everybody here? You think you're smart. You're not smarter than anyone here. And he stated that that's just the game. You thought you were gonna come up here and change the game? You need to be quiet and bring money home. That's what he told me. And that's what they bank on. They bank on people being quiet and rubber stamping things just to bring scraps of scraps of scraps. If we would have had people up there in Tallahassee and in DC holding the line, we would not be in the situation that we are in. We have to send fighters to Washington, D.C., but we have to send fighters who can also lead with compassion. For some reason right now, many people that are Democrats feel, the Democratic elected officials feel that the folks in power in D.C. are good adversaries. A good adversary would require you to act in good faith. They are not acting in good faith, a lot of them. Recently, we have seen some changes. There has been some bipartisan support on some more things, but that is only because y'all have been taking it to the streets. These No Kings protests, I know some people are like, oh, it looks like a party, they ain't doing that. No, it is causing fear in the hearts and minds of Donald Trump and his ilk. I have organized basically my entire adult life. And I went to a workshop this past year, and the workshop was talking about how to stop a democracy from falling. Because we're here now. I want y'all to know, like, we're here now. And, whoa. So, the way in which you can stop a democracy from falling based on what's happened throughout history all over the globe. Thank you. I just breathed, yeah. Thank you. The way in which you stop a democracy from falling, based on history, was mobilization in the streets. That is the way in which people have been able to stop democracies from falling and showing people power. Because right now there's two types of power. There's people power and there's money power. And money power is winning. But recently, organized people out ranks and will be organized money any day. We have not been organized, but lately we've been getting organized. And so we've been seeing some wins. And so they're fearful of us coming together because the No Kings protests weren't all Democrats. It was a lot of independents. It was some Republicans. And that's scaring them. So now they're starting to pass some bipartisan things. And we have to keep the pressure up. Like, we can change this country around. We can change these things. Was there any other? Oh, from your vantage point, what political direction do you see Florida heading? It depends on what the people do. He won the state, yes. He won the state twice. But it depends on what the people do. Are we going to show up? Are we going to organize? Are we going to knock on doors? Are we going to do what we did to get Brian Nathan elected and flip a Senate seat over in the Tampa Bay area and flip a House seat in Mar-a-Lago with Emily Gregory? Things can change, but it's gonna depend on us and like getting people involved and going to meet people where they are, right? And y'all letting people know that Angie Nixon is running. So y'all should take a picture of me right now. I'm serious. I'm an organizer. We're not gonna move on. Y'all need to take a picture of me right now. Let people know, tag me, Angie for FL. Angie Nixon is amazing. She's been here for all her life. And she's been working in the streets for nearly 2 decades. And she knows Florida. She was asked to run by Floridians and voters, not Washington, D.C. And she actually has a vision for this country. So, and then after you take the picture, you should also reach into that pocketbook or that wallet or that phone or that pocket and give me some money. I'm just kidding. Donate. How do we win over people? Oh, no, I just read that. As a U.S. Senator, which committees do you think make the biggest difference for Floridians? I would say like the agricultural, something in the ag space, as well as some stuff on education. So, yes, ag, environmental, and education. Because I don't know if y'all seen the reports. Florida's supposed to be underwater in some decades. And so we gotta make sure that we are addressing the climate crisis and the environmental issues that are happening. We gotta do something about those AI data centers, y'all. There needs to be a moratorium on them until more research is done. There needs to be really strong regulations on them because they are going to cause a lot of our water to be sucked up and polluted. And it's gonna cause y'all's, who y'all got over here? Y'all got JEA over here? No? FPL? Oh, y'all got FPL over here? It's gonna cause y'all FPL bills to go up. And so there has to be really, really strong regulations on data centers. And so, yes, those are some of the committees that I think. Yes, ma'am.
So, first of all, Orban lost in Hungary. So
I think we can really take a nod from Orban because he lost, and I think the person that ran against him went to the people, and it was a very steep hill to climb. So that's really resonating, and a lot of people are paying attention. My question is really about the school system, because I'm a substitute teacher. So I'm on the front lines. I think anybody that, yes, absolutely. It's not a job for everybody. But I think anybody that legislates about our public school system has to spend at least one day in a school as a teacher or admin in the classroom. So what do you know? I understand that certain places are going to be closed, like Gaines, which is a school for kids that really have issues, and the Tech High School. I'm not sure about that, but things are being defunded. And so what is the status of that, and how can we combat that? Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for your question. You're asking me issues related to the state, but that's okay because I'm a state rep and I know those. And so the issue is a few years ago, they passed that voucher bill, which basically allowed billionaires to be able to use public dollars to send their children to corporate private schools. And that has left a lot of our school districts hurting. There's tens of thousands of jobs that are getting cut this month all across the state in different school districts because there has been somewhat of an exodus of students leaving public schools. But guess what's been happening too? They come back. Yes, they do. And they come back behind, oftentimes 1 and 2 years behind. But that money does not return with them. Okay, that money doesn't return with them. And so it's causing a lot of schools to close. And so the way in which we combat that is we gotta get rid of, we gotta vote because we have to vote so that we can try to repeal some of that legislation. And look, I am not anti-choice. Like, I believe that students from low-income areas and students with disabilities should have the opportunity to have good schools. But the reality is we shouldn't be subsidizing Jeff Bezos' grandkids and he's a billionaire, right? Right. There is an effort to privatize it because it makes them more money. One of my colleagues voted on a charter school bill recently, and then we found out that he owns a charter school management company. And a lot of them have stock in private prisons. Why would I educate your child when I can make more money off of them going to prison? So private prisons need to be shut down. And that's going to be a part of my platform. Like, I don't usually believe in preemption, but I believe that private prisons should definitely be no longer a thing. They need to be illegal because you are incentivizing them to enhance penalties. And so that needs to stop. Yep. And so Michelle, oh no, I was just, you're ready to come back up? Okay. And so, all right, y'all. So I am Angie Nixon. I need y'all support, y'all, like for real. And so I'm just a grassroots candidate. I've been doing this work. I really care about the state. I need donations. I am up against someone in the primary who was sent here and he's not from here. Go ahead, Kim, really quick. Yeah, so you can go to, I gave everyone flyers. If you didn't get a flyer, you can go to angienixon.com. You can write checks. I take checks. But go to angienixon.com as well, and you can donate. And look, y'all, like, again, I'm up against a good dude. Nothing against anything that he has done, but he's not from here. He's not from this state. And I believe that we could... I believe that we need to have someone who's from Florida and who can talk to Floridians and uplift the issues we've been going through for the past few years, especially. And so I thank you all for taking the time to come meet with me. And like I said, y'all make sure y'all post those pictures and tag me and Angie for Florida so I can reshare them as well. I appreciate y'all.